Hey guys, this is Cyril here, welcome back to my channel, and today we will be discussing about the new characters that might be released upon the anniversary banners that we will be getting in less than 2 days. So far we don't have a lot of details about who is going to be confirmed as the next character, but I'm pretty sure that Vanille is going to be the first one that we will be looking forward to. And of course we might have a little bit of a glimpse on units like Lightning, Noctis, and of course Prompto, which will also might be featured in this anniversary banners. Currently people actually believe that Noctis, Prompto and Vanille will come together, and if that's the case, that means that Lightning will be delayed until Squall and Cloud's BT+. But for now, let's discuss about her first. So let's start with Vanille. So different from JP here, Vanille now gets her rework, her crystal level 90 and her EX extension, as well as her new LD all together. In this case, we'll be discussing about all this and what changes it will have on herself. So her skill 1 now does 4 bravery hits and it deals 50% splash damage, while her skill 2 does 5 bravery hits and 1 full AoE HP attack. But it now removes all 8 buff from all enemies and it recovers bravery to herself. So nothing too fancy about her base kit. She now does AoE HP damage, which is nice, and she does inflict very good debuff, which is the 100% defense now, which is really what you want. But on top of those, it doesn't have too much of a rework on her base skill. Her LD though now does battery the party and deals a 10 bravery hit plus AoE full HP attack. It recovers bravery to herself after the HP attack, and he provides her the exploitation buff, which when goes against debuff enemy will increase the entire party by 20% bravery damage up and 10% HP damage up. And when you're going against non-buff enemies, it will further increase another 20% bravery damage up and 10% HP damage up, which total up to 40% bravery damage up and 20% HP damage up. Not too fancy, but not too shabby either. Her C90 rework though now allows her EX to deal substantial damage. She now does 6 AoE bravery damage and HP attack dealt by 3 times. It also provides her a new effect on her EX buff, which is HP damage up by 10%. So it's basically Vanille's gonna be hella good off an aura bot to the party. And the best thing about her right now is actually her assassination trap, which is her the debuff that she landed from using her EX. It now does a 4 AoE bravery plus full HP attack dealt 2 times, and inflict 5 turns of defense down by 100% and attack down by 50% to all enemies. It also battery the party based on the HP damage dealt. So this is where her kit is usually relying on from her rework, because Vanille charge her EX really fast, so this is really easy to apply on the enemy constantly. So she'll be more like a trapper plus utility and aura bot to the entire party with her new upgrade. Her additional ability also does have some upgrades. It is now extended to 7 turns and increase the party attack up by 20% and party brave damage cap up by 20%. So Vanille to me is quite good for an aura bot. You can go for her. She doesn't heal. I think that's the only weak point about her being a support, but her aura and her debuff capability and of course her buff removal is actually very good. Yep, so I will be going for her LD in my main account, but I'm not sure whether I'll go hard for it. I will also be going it for my alternate account because her call will be really good for that 100% defense down debuff. But yes, that is what Vanille provides to the party right now. So moving on, we'll be talking about the next Final Fantasy XIII character, which is Lightning. Her sister now gets a rework, but her rework is still nowhere to be seen. I'm not sure whether Square Enix will actually give us her BT Plus and her rework as well as her EX extension. But let's talk about it first. Her skill 1 and skill 2 now does 6 bravery damage and deal 20% splash on their base kit. She also recovers bravery to herself based on the HP damage dealt if she uses her skill 1. Her skill 1 plus though, right now they'll deal 4 bravery damage plus HP damage, followed up by 2 bravery damage plus HP damage. So it's going to be 2 HP dumps. And she also will recover bravery to herself based on the HP damage dealt, and now will inflict Thunder Imperil to all enemy. And the best part about this is it will not consume ability usage using this skill. And her skill 2 plus now does the same with 4 bravery damage plus HP damage, followed by 2 bravery damage plus 1 HP damage. So a total of 2 HP downs, but her skill 2 is an ignore defense attack. So it is really awesome to see how it changes her rotation, where previously you don't pay too much attention to her plus and non-plus version, but right now it's gonna be a lot more complicated to use lightning if you're not using her properly before. And this skill will also of course not consume any ability usage. Her LD doesn't get too much of a rework, but she right now has 6 LD buff from quest beginning, so she doesn't have to apply her LD immediately. And she also now extend her LD buff by 2 actions if she uses an LD. And she also of course has some slight potency increase, and she dealt 20% splash on her last HP attack. It's not much of an upgrade for Lightning's LD, so that's why some people actually recommend skipping her, but let's talk about further on what she gets. Her new BT Plus though, it doesn't provide too much effect on the party. It only provides a 20% party bravery damage up and a 30% party bravery damage cap on top of her already Aura Bot effect. So I guess she's becoming more of an Aura Bot right now. But aside from that, yes, her BT Plus doesn't get too much of a rework to make it a lot more viable to green her. But okay, let's talk about her EX extension though. Her EX now does 3 single target bravery attack plus HP attack dealt 4 times. So sadly, it only increased the original EX HP downs by 1 additional HP dumps. It's not really too big of an upgrade, like I said, so Lightning really did get a little bit shafted in this case, but she's not bad. She doesn't get as good as she is during her LD release and her EX Plus release. She does get the additional 20% splash on her EX rework as well, and her additional ability now becomes a 4-hit bravery plus HP attack. It still reset the break, and it extend her additional ability buff to 4 turns, which increase her own attack up by 20% and 30% bravery damage cap. So like I said, Lightning did not get too much of a rework or too big of a rework or even too game-changing of a rework that make her as OP as she was during her LD and EX Plus release. But as I said before, because Lightning is a turn hogger, it's a lot easier to pair her with the right unit, because you have a lot of unit that goes really well with her type of DPS. We have units like Kane, we have units like Core, we even have units like Cloud of Darkness BT Plus, which will substantially increase Lightning's usability in the upcoming stages. So yes, Lightning a little bit sad, but yes, still usable. Moving on, we will be going for the king himself, Noctis. So Noctis does get his BT Plus and his EX extension in this coming release. When using his base EX version, it now increases his recast speed by 20%. So it's not exactly a bad idea to use his regular version of his EX instead of the Plus version. But both versions now deals 4 single target bravery plus HP damage dealt by 4 times. So it's gonna be a very huge chunk of EX upgrade. And he also improved his Omega buff, which increased his HP damage up by 15% at 5 stacks. His additional ability upgrade though now increases 1 additional usage and provides 20% stolen max bravery overflow and 20% attack up and bravery damage cap up to himself. The best part about his upgrade though is his BT Plus. It doesn't provide too much difference on his aura, but it does provide now a 3-hit single target plus HP damage dealt 2 times to that particular targeted enemy. So it's basically adding up 1 more HP dump to his attack, but it does provides a lot of damage comparatively if you're going for single targets enemy. So this new upgrade of Noctis actually brings back his era of being a very good follow-up damage dealer. I think he's the first follow-up damage dealer ever since his LD and BT release. So this actually re-upgrade him into one of the better follow-up damage dealer right now. The saddest part about Noctis though is his LD. It doesn't provide much to his upgrade. It's still 1 HP dump overall, which is really bad for a crystal level 90 character. But other than that, he does have a very good upgrades on his EX, and of course, like I said, the best part about his upgrade is his BT plus effect, which now provides 2 HP dumps on his follow-up attack. And last of the 4 now we have Prompto, which he has a very stacked upgrades on his BT, so he might have the best or the most upgrade right now. His EX now becomes a 1-hit AoE bravery attack plus full HP damage dealt by 10 times, and it grants him the Overkill plus and Crack Shot plus to his regular bravery and HP attack. So his new Overkill plus now instantly break the target and battery the party. It deals 4 hit single target bravery damage plus HP damage dealt by 2 times, and inflict attack down debuff by 70%, and it has high turn rate. Whereas his Crack Shot plus now has 6 hit bravery damage plus HP damage dealt by 2 times, and deals a 50% splash to non-target. It is also an ignore defense attack. Both of these attacks doesn't increase the turn count and will revert back to the previous stage after use. So yes, Prompto actually increased not just his EX but his bravery damage and HP plus, which also provides a very good longevity to his entire kit. His additional ability now extend to 6 turns and provide 25% attack up and 20% self brave gain up. So he doesn't have any rework on his skill 1, skill 2 and his LD, but his EX is sufficient enough to make him a lot usable as a tank, and it also provides a very good longevity to his entire kit. And also, of course, without having to increase the turn count, he's actually really good when paired with the right unit. So what do you guys think of these characters? To be honest, in my opinion, I do hope that Lightning does get an early rework like Sarah did when her LD got released in Global. I do hope that they actually provide us more than what they can provide with Lightning's kit. Don't get me wrong though, she's not bad, but that's only because her original kit was already so good that giving her a small rework would actually render her not so bad, but it's still very underwhelming, especially for a crystal level 90 character. So I hope that in that case they can actually give us more reason to actually BT plus Lightning. But other than that, I don't see anything new would be happening to all these characters. And if they really plan to give us what people been expecting, which is Noctis, Prompto and Vanille in one banner, that is gonna be a very huge banner to pull, considering we almost have every role of characters in that particular banner. Noctis as a DPS, and Prompto as a tank, and as well as Vanille as a support. So if they're gonna do that, I'm gonna definitely pull more than I expected because I don't have any of the characters over there, and I really want to get Vanille's LD. As for surprises, I'm not so sure if we're getting a global new character. We definitely won't be getting an early LD since LD has been released completely in JP, but we may get an early new character or an early BT like what most has speculated, but I don't think that will happen. I mean, BT is a little bit too much of a deal to actually release this early, unless they bring a character that has a BT that ties with him or with her. So in that sense, yeah, I don't think we'll be getting too big of a surprise. I just think that purely Vanille's EX extension will be released early alongside her new LD. As to how pairing all this unit together, Noctis himself is a very good damage dealer and a turn manipulator. The unique part about his turn manipulation, if you don't know about him, is that he doesn't manipulate the enemy's turn, but he manipulates your party's turn. And he is also one of the choices you have if you want to go for a zero turn run, which is actually really popular among content creators to challenge themselves to do a 0 turn run. And with Noctis, it's very viable, especially we're getting Layla soon, which also will be contributing a lot in the 0 turn run as well. So in that sense, Noctis will be your go-to for the 0 turn run as a damage dealer and as a very good turn manipulator. The small problem I find with Noctis though is that he's very not self-sufficient. his auras and his potencies is still not very good, and he does need a little bit of more support than most damage dealers in this era. So with that in mind, I think that Noctis might fall off a little bit earlier than expected for some people, because depends on how you really play him or how you run him with. But for my case, since I don't have Noctis BT, I probably won't try to go too hard on pumping up his kit and his damage. If I do get his BT though, then that's another story. I might green him, but he has been evading me ever since his initial release, so I probably won't get him now. I might try him for my alternate account, but I'll see how it goes. With that in mind, you can actually pair Noctis with a lot of heroes. He worked really well with units like Machina as well, because of how he turn manipulates Machina to have more turns, despite using his HP attack, which have low turn count and will delay Machina himself. Using Noctis LD 2D advantage, Machina can actually remove that disadvantage and have more turn to spam his HP attack, which is really deadly in that sense. So using that idea itself, Noctis himself doesn't just pair well with turn hoggers, he also pair really well with units that requires them to go a lot of turns, because Noctis can manipulate their own turns to make sure that they always take a turn before the enemy does. So with this extra rework, it's a little bit more viable to bring Noctis into the party to pair well with these newer damage dealers like Noel, Machina, so that Noctis can actually bring more to the table than just his turn manipulation. And moving forward, we have Prompto. Prompto actually works similar with Noctis in a sense where he has this follow-up damage. He links himself with one of the unit that it's in your party, and he'll follow up based on that unit action. So Prompto can also work as a tank since he's an evasion tank. So if you want to go for Prompto, it's actually a really good option because he fulfills two roles in one as a character. So I think Prompto as a tank itself is very useful for newer players to go for him. I for one, my alternate will actually go really hard for Prompto, because it's always good to have more evasions unit, especially with the coming Lufenia stage where we need evasion to bring up the orb, the Queen's Lost Chapter Lufenia Plus. So I think Prompto can go really well there. Some people even compare Prompto with Core because of their effect of actually following up with one character's the link effect. And personally, both of them also protect the party in some form. Core doesn't protect them completely. He does, however, prevents them from breaks, and also prevents them from taking too high of a HP damage. So in that sense, they do have a very good protective and offensive form in both of their kit, although slightly similar, but also slightly different. So if you were to ask me what kind of team comp I think Prompto would be suitable to, I mean, due to his kit in being both very good in offensive and defensive utility, I would say that he's very good as a third alternative to almost any kind of team comp. Although some would say that as a follow-up attack, he might be suitable for with a third hogger, but I might say due to his defensive nature, he can also go really well with unit that requires protecting. So I think in that sense, he worked really well as a third alternative to mostly any team comp. So next we'll be talking about Vanille. Like I mentioned before, she's a very good aura bot with very strong debuff capability. She has a very unique 100% down debuff, defense down, which only she applies for now. The only problem I find with Vanille debuff is none of them are frame. So one of the way to actually run her properly to make sure that her debuff stays with a boss that actually constantly buff themselves is to run her with units that apply debuff that can frame their own debuff. For example, Titus or Forest Call, or even if you want to play smart, Kadach with Go Frame and apply with a Ultimisia Spear that can also help with framing a defense down debuff. So that way you can actually grasp the idea of using Vanille's defense down to the maximum capability. Other than that, instead of saying what kind of team comp Vanille is suitable in, it's more like what kind of enemy you're dealing with. She has a very good buff removal, so if you're facing bosses that buff themselves a lot with very potent buff and everything, Vanille can work really well there. And if you're facing bosses that requires you to apply suitable amount of debuff, Vanille can also be very helpful in that sense. So instead of the team comp itself, Vanille works really well with what kind of bosses that requires her mechanisms to work. And the last one here we'll be talking is Lightning. And Lightning's team composition, I think it's fairly obvious what kind of team she'll go really well with. Theologica actually runs her a lot lately with Selfie and Kane, if I remember correctly. Due to the fact of her turn-hogging nature, you want her to run with units that benefits a lot from her taking a lot of turns. That's why Kane was a very suitable choice, and because of the fact that Lightning's damage are mainly single target prior to her rework, Selfie's debuff can also apply where she only reduced the debuff by 1 turn per enemy instead of both enemy together. But due to the rework that she'll get this time, it might change this slightly because of the fact that she gets splash in some of her skill right now. But we will also be getting Selfie's rework pretty soon, so in that sense she won't decrease any longer, and Lightning can right away benefit more from the fact that she takes a lot of turn. So yep, I think she still pairs really well with Selfie in the near future. Regardless though, I hope that they actually can put up a better rework for Lightning, so we can actually see more of her action in this coming Lufenia Plus and FR era. Like I said before, she's not bad, she just comes with a mediocre rework, especially given the fact that her banner mates are getting such strong rework, with Cloud and Squirrel both being a DPS monster later down the line when they get their EX extension. So regarding my plan, I will try my best to get Vanille's LD, and I hope if she comes with Prompto and Noctis, then I'll pull it a little bit harder because I don't have Prompto's LD and I don't have Noctis BT. If Lightning comes together with her, then my plan might change a bit because I already have Lightning's full kit. So let me know down in the comments about what's your plan. Are you pulling for her? Is there any BT Plus unit you're looking forward to? And I'll stay tuned for the next video. Thank you guys.